Thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to the All Candidates Forum. Today we have a whole panel of some handsome and beautiful candidates who are applying to represent you. The positions that we have today are representatives who are running for AMS rep, ombudsperson, fourth year rep, senator, as well as the coveted position of the president. To give you a brief overview of what will be happening today, all of the candidates will have 45 seconds to introduce themselves to you as well as their platforms and what they stand for. Following that, we will open up the floor for questions from the audience, mediated by yours truly. Responses will be limited to 1 minute, and ask them some tough questions, really get to know them, dive into the intricacies of their platform, and just make sure at the end of the day that you're making a very informed decision about who will be representing you for the year to come.
I'm voting for you.
Thank you all for coming. It really means a lot to see a lot of candidates and a lot of audience members who really care about the CUS. My name is Pia Koch. I am the outgoing third-year representative and speaker of the board of directors. It's with a grain of salt that I mediate the discussion today, as this means that the end of my term is coming and the beginning of these ladies and gentlemen's terms is about to start. So without further ado, I would love to call up Miss Ombuds rep, Miss Ombudsperson, Chrisanne, who's asked for your.
Hi, I'm Chrisanne Cuzas, and I'm running for the position of Ombudsperson. The reason that I chose to run for this position is because Ombudsperson is a very different position from the rest of the positions that you're going to be hearing about today, because you don't actually sit on board of directors or on the executive council. You're sort of a separate entity that serves to protect the rights of the students. And for this reason, the position of Ombudsperson has traditionally been quite a behind-the-scenes position. And so one of my goals as being Ombudsperson is to change that and to be more visible to students and be more approachable for students, because one of the parts of being Ombudsperson is being available for students to come and speak to you if they have any problems. And so this is why I need your vote so that I can change this.
I'd now like to open up the floor for any questions, so raise your hand and we'll bring over a mic to you if you have a question. Any of the fellow candidates have questions for Chrisanne? All right, well, I will love to start it opening. Chrisanne, as Ombudsperson, the position itself does require a lot of communication. What different channels are you planning on utilizing to connect yourself to the students and vice versa?
Well, first of all, I feel that people don't really know about the Ombudsperson, and so I want to try to get out to as many events as possible and engage with the students on a one-to-one basis. But also, of course, people use Facebook, they use email. I like to use social media to do this. But my main goal is to get people to know I'm your Ombudsperson and you can come to me if you have a problem.
Any other questions? All right, Chrisanne, another question from my end. I'm just grilling the poor girl. Another question from my end is Ombudsperson is an interesting role in that many of the conversations you will have are strictly confidential. How are you in terms of approachability with the students, and how are you willing to, how are you going to portray yourself for the student body to know that all of their conversations will be confidential and held in privacy?
I guess that the only way to do that is to let students know that when you speak to your Ombudsperson, it is a confidential conversation, and I'm not going to go and tell everyone, okay, this is your problem. So when someone comes to you, you're going to say, okay, this is a confidential conversation, don't worry, you can speak to me about this.
Last question for any of the audience members? All right, Chrisanne, in one word or less, what is the one thing that you stand for?
Justice.
Great, thanks, Chrisanne. All right, the handsome AMS reps. Come on up. All right, so to my left, I have the handsome Tim Ton, and to my right, I have the equally handsome Velko Vertage. Gentlemen, 45 seconds for introductions, then we'll open it up to questions. Either of you could start.
All right. My name is Velko Vertage, and I'm a third-year TLOG and Sustainability student.
And I wanted to tell you guys what's the difference between an AMS rep and any other student in UBC. So an AMS rep can join any committees that he wants, and he can try to change as much as he wants of the different companies and everything that is running the AMS. But the most important part of being an AMS rep is that you have the right to vote in the council. There's only 45 votes or something like that, deciding a lot of different decisions that compromises everyone in here. I believe I've worked enough in the AMS and the CUS to know that I'll be voting accordingly to what the Solar community, and not only the Solar community, but actually the whole school will need. So just remember to vote for Velcro tomorrow.
Hi everyone, my name is Tim Tong. I am currently the second year representative at the CUS Board of Directors. I've been involved with the Budget Oversight Committee as well as with the Building and Hiring Committee. And I hope to take the experiences and the learning that I've gained into the AMS level. And as Velco has very well mentioned, it is one of the highest executive bodies in terms of decision making that will affect the entire student population on UBC. And I believe that I can bring the experience that I've gained in terms of board dynamics, in terms of decision making, and ensure that the commerce representation is taken into account when these decisions are being made. In addition, I really hope that I'll be my focus in terms of being an AMS rep is to focus on the structural deficit as well as also increasing communication between the CUS board and the AMS council. Thank you.
Alright guys, let's grill them. Mark.
So I know that the AMS Council often has a level of scrutiny, whether it be media, blogs, information posts, often satirical, that simply doesn't exist at the CUS. So how do you think you'll be able to deal with this kind of direct pressure and scrutiny from members of the larger university? And do you feel that you will be able to actively get your points across while this is going on?
Well, one thing that I, in terms of how I would face that scrutiny, is to be in the front and to be in the front line in terms of when decisions and issues are being brought up. Daria, another second-year representative, and I have recently passed through the board last week an initiative for CUS Connect, in which it creates literally a physical presence where board members are going to be in CA Hall to tell you exactly what's going on, whether it's with the CUS issues or with the AMS issues. And I think that in the face of public scrutiny, whether it's online or around campus, I'm really going to be focusing specifically with my CUS constituents, and I'll be making sure that that anyone who comes to that booth, that CUS Connect booth, will be able to get the truth of what's going on from directly from me. So yeah.
I on the other side, I remember 2 years ago when Ekaterina was the AMS rep. I don't know if you guys remember, she used to send every month a report of what was going on in the AMS. My idea is to bring this back. I didn't like the fact that we didn't have this year, because as a matter of fact, sometimes people don't like to read it, but if you actually read it, you can get really well informed. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with internet slang, but I would like to add like a TL ;DR to everything that we write, so you know what we're talking about. Yeah, and that can be sent you can actually add this to the CUS Sundays that are sent every week.
Other questions from the audience? Yes.
How do you see the role of an elected AMS representative interacting with the group and the VPs and the president and all of that and some of the decisions that they make? As a representative from a faculty, how do you work with the groups that represent the entire student body?
Well, you have to bring the best that you have. In my case, I'm fierce of sustainability, and I'm hoping to join the building and facilities. So actually, that's part of this what he wants as well. The great part of the AMS is you work with people from every faculty, and everyone has a different thing to bring to the table. The idea is to bring as much as you can from what you know in commerce and use it in one of these committees. And eventually, you can have all these crazy ideas and all these amazing proposals, but everything comes down to the time of voting.
Yeah, and just in terms of how I would answer that, I think that when I'm working with the execs and I'm working on the council and I'm working with different interfaculty relations, it's important that my mindset is not to only think about how I can focus and bring benefit to CUS students, because nothing will ever get done in the AMS level if we only think with such a narrow mindset. So it's really important that I look at the issues at hand, working with the execs, providing oversight, ensuring that the entire CU, that the entire AMS the students' constitutions are taken into account, but that nothing is lost as well for the CUS portion of it. So.
Other questions? Lauren?